Hi, and welcome to Authentic Artists Artist Spotlight. This is the first in a series that I'll be doing with people that I've coached in the past, which are songwriters, artists, and musicians, sometimes all three. And I'd like to welcome onto the call the lovely Martin Wardley. Hi, Martin.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me today and let people hear a bit of your story. So, if we get right into it, I would actually like to ask you, what was it that made you decide to coach with me and to work on some of the things we did? Where were you in your career at the time with music?
Goodness. Okay, so I've been recording, writing, performing, doing all sorts of musical things for years and years and years. And then it got to a point where can you hear a snoring dog here?
No, but
There's a
thanks for
good
drawing attention to
there's a
it.
snoring dog on my lap, and he's just started. Sorry. I'll introduce you to him in a second. And I was, and that just gone on and on and on. And I got to a point where I thought, well, what do I do with it? And I'd started to talk to organisations that kind of moved you on and got you co-writing, got you doing kind of commercial type music, which isn't my music really. And I got involved in that, and so it sort of brought up various questions about my direction, my vision, what I wanted from Martin Wardley music, what I wanted from co-writing, and talking to the people who were doing this kind of co-writing and helping musicians to kind of guide them in their craft. It pointed them in a certain direction, which I wasn't sure I wanted to go in. So I need a little bit of help, kind of thinking and questioning and challenging my direction, and that's when I came to you. And that's what I needed. I needed that sort of straightforward, kind of asking me the right questions, leading me to the answers, which, as you know, and I know from a coaching point of view, are generally in me. They just need to come out, and they just need kind of the right questions to bring forth the answers that are in me. And that's why I came to you. Does that
Thank you.
does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. And I think what was interesting was, you're a businessman, you've run your own business and you have done some coaching as well. And it's really interesting that you can't coach yourself.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I think you think you can, and you can ask yourself some challenging questions. But it's a two-way thing. It's the questions being asked, but it's also you articulating yourself. And you know as well as I do, when we had the sessions, when I'm articulating myself, things start to come out, and you think, oh, is that what you really think? Did I think that? Have I just said that? And you do, and you don't get that opportunity. No one else talks to you about it, really. No one's that interested that they're going to sit opposite you and talk to you and listen to what you have to say about your music. They might kind of pretend for a little while, but no one's going to do that. Not even your best friends are going to really do that. They'll be thinking about the next thing they're going to say rather than. So that's why it really helps. So it's a two-way thing. It's you asking the question to me, and it's me having an opportunity to articulate it kind of out loud, which then might prompt me or answer some of the questions that I think I have. And it's like that idea of the answers coming. The answers are in me anyway, getting them out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an interesting thing, isn't it? That, the whole coaching thing, when you work with the coach doesn't tell you the answer. It's about drawing it out from within you. And like you said, it's only when you've actually spoken something that you think, I didn't know I felt that way, or is that what I really think?
absolutely. And I think and other people who go to coaches need to understand sometimes that, I mean, I've had coaches who just talk at me. Well, that's not coaching. That's not even mentoring. That's just telling you anecdotes or telling you what they think. That's not the same as getting the answers out of yourself, which is where that's what differentiated you from some of the other coaches, is that you were actually coaching. Interesting. They call themselves coaches, but they're not necessarily coaching. They're telling you, which isn't the same. It's on the other side of this, as we both know, it's on the other side of the spectrum. It's consulting, but you're not necessarily bought into whatever it is they're telling you.
No, that's right. I think if you come up with the answers are drawn out of you, then you're automatically bought into that, because it's your consciousness, your awareness that's brought that through. So it is very important to make sure it's something that is true for you, rather than, that's the whole authentic thing that comes out, isn't it? For me,
absolutely,
is if it's not in you, it's not going to be authentic.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I think the next question then is really, how did you really feel at the time about, you talked about the situation, but what did you think you wanted to change and work on? And is that what ended up happening?
Well, it's quite fundamental. What I wanted was do I carry on doing the same thing I've been doing years and years and years, or does something else occur, or do I stop? Do I stop with the music? It takes so much time, so much energy on top of everything else. And if you're not getting anything out of it, or you're not getting what you want out of it, do you just stop? And that was a legitimate answer to the questions that I had. It was kind of like, okay, put it all away, put it on the shelf, get rid of it, and stop now. And so how I felt was kind of up and down and tad confused, because it's something that's been with me since I was a kid. You can't. It's not something you can stop. But likewise, you can't carry on spending that much energy on something that's not necessarily going where you might want it to go. So in the challenges that I got from you and from elsewhere as well, there was this constant, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And in terms of the change, I mean, it was a slow. It probably took about a year, actually, the whole process. And at points during that year, I thought, and particularly as we had the conversations around commercial music and my kind of more poppy commercial music and my kind of not just take on that, but involvement in that. And am I going to do that, or is it just going to be Martin Wardley? If it's Martin, all those kind of questions. And so it was a roller coaster, a real roller coaster. It was a kind of like up and down, and some days you'd be thinking, yeah, this is it, this is what I'm going to do. Other days, nah, give it all up. And it, as you know, it took probably more than a year. And when I got to the end of that year, or throughout it, the questions were all answered one by one. They were answered, and partly by help from you, partly by help from others, partly by getting that out of myself and what I wanted to do, and actually a change in environments and circumstances to suit. But I got there. We got there in the end, and the answer was, yeah, crack on, essentially.
It was, and I do remember those conversations being really make or break sort of time. We're quite prepared to walk away from it and not go any further, because I think you were really at that kind of crossroads as to, what should I do? Is it worth doing it at all? Will I miss it? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's happened since? As a result of that, what results did you get? Where did you take it? What happened?
So last year, Martin Wardley is an artist. I released an album. Well, I released tracks every month. I released an album. I've been co-writing with us in terms of commercial poppy sort of things. And I managed to segregate and separate the two. It doesn't bother me that if I'm writing songs that doesn't necessarily wouldn't be my songs. They're just songs. And it's good fun doing it. And it's not necessarily, good fun isn't necessarily what I always have writing my own stuff. You disappear up your own kind of backside writing what you believe in, and it's kind of, and I still do that. And actually what the commercial poppy stuff has done, or more commercial thing, it allows me to go less commercial in my own stuff. And it doesn't matter to me if people are listening, and there are people saying good things about it, but it doesn't matter to me if they are or they are not. What matters to me is that I'm doing it, and I'm doing it the way I want to do it, alongside the way carrying on with music in a little bit more commercial manner. And those co-writes are starting to take off. There's people who've got some of our songs on their desks. There are sync agencies who've signed up our tracks. So it's taken off in both directions. Then I started doing instrumentals, the idea there being film score and etc. And at the same time, I'm releasing my words on Wednesday. It's poetry every Wednesday on all social medias, and it's discipline that, but it's lovely because there's no constraints of poetry. It's not like music. It's words, and whatever comes out, you can just let it flow. And there's no. I kind of have a bit of a perfectionist about myself, or did have, and the fact that you have to release it means you edit it to a point, but then you got to get it out. So you got to stop editing it and get it out. And you know, I've sent things out there that have got spelling mistakes and wrong words and all the rest of it. And you think, but that's part of the process. Just
perfect's the enemy.
That's where it's gone, and that's, you know, it's been busy. Sorry,
perfect's the enemy of good or good enough. Yeah,
exactly. So that's where it's gone. So it's been busy. It's been busy.
That's really great. I mean, one of my core motivators for coaching musicians, songwriters and artists is I would hate for people's talent not to get out there for the lack of some confidence or clarity about, you know, the kind of things you struggle with, really. You know, what does success mean or look like? Because, you know, success might not mean being number one or in the charts. It might be, I have been creative. I have expressed myself. I've got my kind of message or feelings out there. You know, and I think you doing you authentically, you know, has been a great thing to watch, because I've seen what you've been putting out there, and the Pedestrian Odyssey project as well.
Yeah, good one.
So, yeah, I mean, talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Well, Pedestrian Odyssey, actually, the word Pedestrian Odyssey comes from the last album, Into the Abyss, which was, there's a narrative on the back of it, which was that it's been a pedestrian odyssey, which is, i.e., it's taken a bloody long time to get all this lot out. So it's on that same theme, and then just wrote songs. I had some in the back catalogue, some were new, some kind of came along when I thought I was going to release back catalogue stuff, then and something new would come along. So I just did that and disciplined every month to get a release out and a video. It's bloody hard work, actually. Get the release out, get that produced, get it written, get it finished, get it arranged, get it produced, get it into video, and get a video out there. The video actually turned out to be one of the hardest things to do, because you're relying on so many other people, and get that out every month. And I got that out every month. And then I think September last year, October, I put another couple of tracks and then turned it into an album. Because as DIY artists, it's pointless, absolutely pointless, getting an album out there. Because it's a one hit, you put all that work in, it's a one hit in terms of social media and all the rest of it. And then you've got 12 more tracks to work on and write, and for another 2 years. So you see artists kind of appear and go, wow, and then disappear. I mean, I haven't done anything this year, but that's because we've been working on the core rights and been moving house and doing other things. But September is the next release. So that was Pedestrian Odyssey, really. And yeah.
So do you mean it's pointless putting out singles? Or
putting out albums? Sorry, not singles. I think you need to think about tracks. Spotify now, because of streaming, big bands and albums are still going to be there as a body of art, and I'm a big believer in them, really, as a body of art. But in terms of what's happening there, people are consuming as tracks and streaming tracks. They're not streaming, and no one looks at an album. Generally, they look at a playlist, and that's kind of. Well, even when they are, actually, I mean, I'm now like, do I go on Spotify and listen to an album? If I'm honest, not often. So I think, although creating the album at the end, and that's what I wanted to do. That's why I put a couple more tracks out into Pedestrian Odyssey, which were not then. They weren't released as singles. So it just meant that the package was a little bit more than just a bunch of singles. But yeah. So that's because I still believe in the album as a body of art. But even I don't consume it. So what's the point? Anyway, that's a different discussion.
It's a debate that ranges on, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you again for sharing all of that. You know, if anybody else was kind of thinking about themselves and whether they should go for coaching, what would you say to them?
I'd say absolutely go. Just bite the bullet. Find someone you think you can work with. Have conversations first. Have conversations about what it is you want to try to get to the bottom of. Have those conversations. See if you get on with the coach. and then go for it. There's nothing, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, I think. I mean, I was introduced to coaching as being a coach and kind of getting some training into coaching. And as part of that, you had to get a coach. And I'd never been coached before. I'd never actually had those kind of sessions where you sit and somebody talks to you about the things you're thinking, and it's invaluable. And it's I don't know. I mean, I know this kind of life coaching has got a bit of a bad rep, just because it's kind of, as I'm a life coach. But it's just really, it's about talking. It's about getting stuff out of yourself and understanding what it is you want to do. And until you understand the vision, the kind of the direction you want to go in, how on earth do you know what to do on a day-by-day basis? So go for it. If anyone's listening now and they're thinking, should I, what's the question? You might not even know the question. Get a coach. Just get a coach. Just talk to them. It might take you 2 half-hour sessions and it might change your life. But it's just about having conversations. It's all it's about. There's nothing more. There's nothing fancier than that, really. Open questions, conversations, and someone who really knows how to use the open question to get out of you what you want to get out of yourself. I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's, and it doesn't need to be me. I mean, I'm just sort of talking generally anyway.
Yeah, get that.
I think you have to kind of, you want to connect with your audience. You want to connect with people who want to hear your music, maybe. But I think the most important connection is to yourself. And I think unless you've got that in place, and, if you struggle with that, you're not sure what that means. It means probably you need to explore it a bit more. But I think that's probably the inner work is where you start, rather than, trying to do all the time. It's more about being for me. How do you be in terms of what you stand for and what you're all about. And that awareness is really important, so that you can be coherent when you try and do something.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if you don't know what you are and what you're about, you can be doing all sorts of busy things out there, but how do you know if it's going where you want it to go? And I think you don't. You just kind of, I don't know, grappling around in the dark, really. If you don't know what, it's like not knowing where you're headed, not a map and a destination and all the rest of it. Yeah.
I mean, obviously some people are incredibly clear, and they're not the people who need the coaching, but if you're struggling in any way, then I'd encourage you to look into it a bit more. So finally, just tell us where we can find your music.
You can find my music on martinwardley.com. That's where that's most of the stuff is there. That's got all the links to social media, but the usual stuff. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Martin Wardley Music. Just go to the website. Everything. It's like we're on SoundCloud, we're on Spotify, etc. On all of all I think of the streaming services. But yeah, go to the website and you'll find everything there. And enjoy, and let me know what you think. If you do go there, let me know what you think. And yes. Yeah,
comment and message and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Get involved.
I'll put some links on at the bottom of the video as well. So
perfect.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and coming and sharing.
All right, thank you. Thanks for chatting. I'm going to show you Lemmy now. Hello, Lemmy. He's there.
He's not snoring anymore. What's his name again?
Lemmy. Lemmy as in Lemmy from Motorhead.
Absolutely.
There you go.
He's beautiful.
He's going for his Jack Daniels in a second. Right, okay.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks
very much appreciated. See you.
Care,
bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.